Welcome in, everyone. Happy Friday, flowing charts. Yes, finally Friday. Finally Friday. I'm so happy. It's been kind of a slower week for the most part with earnings season, but if you're new to joining us here, we'll look through flow, look through market tide, look through Periscope. I won't be taking any live trades. I actually finished up my scalping earlier and I was smart and locked my account, but we can look at Periscope and I'll kind of just talk through some trades if we can see anything. But yeah, other than that, just we'll kind of poke around. We'll look at some of the notable flow that came in. We'll have our notable flow alerts recap up as well. Probably tomorrow morning, maybe tonight. Well, we'll see. Just kind of depends. But yeah, let's get started here, and let's start with the market tide here. Market tide bearish here, pretty clean looking market tide there. Pipsy, hello, happy Friday. Yeah, bearish market tide here. Heavy negative net volume. Ask side. All put premiums, out of the money put premiums, call premiums are dropping here too. I did notice something, and I didn't put it out earlier, but after that big pop earlier, kind of something interesting to look back here. We didn't really see any call participation at all in that time. Those call premiums stayed pretty flat overall there, so that was maybe kind of a little, precursor of what was to come here. But yeah, just looking at those there, that's always interesting. Again, I always tell people, keep an eye on that market tide, see if people are chasing up with calls. And we didn't really see put premiums drop off or anything either there. I mean, kind of seeing the same thing here, just obviously not to this extent yet, but always just something to kind of keep an eye on, especially on these little pops. Just see if put premiums start to drop, call premiums start to take off a little bit. But let's hop over to Periscope here. Let's make sure I'm live, make sure everything's good here. We are, nope, we are live. Yeah, just sitting in the middle of this gamma right now. A lot of negative gamma above, a lot of negative gamma below us. We're sitting right on top of this positive gamma. That 74.05 should act as a little support here. You can see we've been kind of chopping here right now. Typically, when that price falls into that negative gamma, it's going to suppress that price, so can act as a support. Obviously, it not going to work 100% of the time, but it will suppress that price because dealers have to buy there to stay delta neutral. So just kind of keep it. Oh crap, it's Nixon here. Oh no. Oh no. Oh my god, are you gonna actually hang out? Oh no way. We were just talking. No way. Holy crap, Nixon here. Oh my god. We were just talking about market tide. I was just talking about earlier how kind of maybe a potential precursor here, how those call premiums did not really spike on that big pop earlier. I know I sent it to you in our little chat that we were kind of scalping off of, but yeah, that's always interesting to me when I see that happen there. But yeah, yep. That would be entertaining. You are gonna be a little upset with me because I don't run my recording on OBS here, so it's sadly not gonna pick up your voice for when I have this, and they're gonna be like, oh no, that's fine, you're always welcome, you know that. Yeah, I already locked my trading earlier too, just I Yep, I locked it, and that's it. That's all that matters. Yeah, that's fine. And yeah, just FYI for anybody in here, Whale Watch is only gonna be Monday and Monday. I is this show? Yeah, Wednesday. Monday. Same title though too. Still whale watch or okay. That's awesome. Hey, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Always fun. Let's see what we were gonna. Oh yeah, go ahead. You do you. Let's I'm gonna blame Nick. He threw us all off. I was not expecting him to pop in out of everybody, but all right, cool. Let's take a peek at our notable flow that came in today. So let's hop over here. I'm gonna pop some of these in. So it was a pretty light day here. These Teslas looked kind of interesting a little earlier. Let's go in here, take a peek. Again, just always pay attention to kind of the notes that I throw in here too. So kind of note with this one was, use caution. They're shorter dated. Ivy did spike. The fills were at the ask. They did get a small little pop here, but when we look at the tape here, so it does have a descending fill as well. Let's come back here. But you got that nice Ivy spike when they came in here. Obviously, we got 7 days on these. They are only 2% out of the money. Anything can happen, but spot filling at the ask here. Little drop here. It's only 1 cent below the ask, so it still looks kind of good. Couple fills below that ask, but for the most part, we're filling at the ask here. Ivy staying up. They look like a good buy. It looks like a good kind of dip buy there. Obviously, Tesla just got hammered yesterday after earnings. They are only 3% out of the money. Tesla can move, so do have some time on those here. And the Goog calls here, which I actually took some of these as well, heading into next week here. Here's our tape. Let's go in here, take a peek at that. Nice IV spike when they come in, and kind of another little thing to look at here is that 1106.07 here. We got about 46 contracts between those two trades at the same second. I'd go out on a limb and almost say these potentially could be related. We don't know for sure, but being 10 seconds apart, this is kind of the only notable size that we saw come in before that, and then you get your big size here. I almost assume they're related. Obviously, we don't know, but I like that IV spike anyways when we get our big orders here. That order book kind of flips a little bit there. Phil still technically at that previous ask. I like these. I like Google had good earnings, so these are kind of slightly up here, 5 and then up to 513. Just making a little peak there. Got a lot of time on those there too. But those trades from yesterday too, and I'll touch on them a little bit more when we do our recap here, but these AAL calls absolutely made a good move into today. Since we didn't have a stream yesterday, we can kind of look at them there, but AAL calls yesterday, 51 up to high of 83 today. Everybody should have saw something there. Those now dip buyers as well made a good move today. Big move there. These are trading near the high right now too. 811, highs 825. Yeah, we're pretty close, just off highs there. And those hymns puts from yesterday, I hope some people swung some of those, because those absolutely are ripping 101 there, 275 right now. So I mean, massive moves there. Those SPY puts from yesterday, I don't know if that whale's still in. We can take a peek. They got a little pop yesterday up to 1098. Nothing super major, but kind of just slightly underwater there. 38 days on those. The Google puts yesterday we kind of looked at there. We'll kind of touch on the rest through the flow alerts recap there. But yeah, good move on those there. Nick's saying that we lost 75.05 there on Periscope. Yeah, we're losing that upside here as well too. Upside positioning's dropping off. They're building up a little bit below us here. That range I'm looking for right now, 74.05, maybe to this 73.75. A lot of negative gamma in the middle here. Could see a lot of kind of popping back and forth there as well. All right, let's see. We got some contracts to look at in here. Yeah, I know I have the bell alerts. I love them. I love them. I don't care. Let's see. Yeah, Laura, let's take a peek at those. So we got the key 918.25 calls. Take a peek at these. 10% out of the money. We have 1900 contracts, slightly over that coming in here. We know it's an opening trade. 1900's greater than that 503, all coming in one big order. So let's take a peek. So these are kind of, again, as I was saying, coming in one big order. So I want to see if we can see some context before that. So let me remove this filter. So we get a small IV drop on these when they come in. They are filling at the ask here. Let's see if we can find any other context. So this was that reason we got that big spike there in that call premium at the time. Just want to take a peek. Anything else on key? I don't get the best read from that. It fills at the ask, but you get that small IV drop, so it's kind of double sorted there. I just want to see what that price did here too. Let me go back here. So let's see, so that price is going up and you're seeing that IV drop. Now again, it's not 100% of science where it's going to work every single time, and just because that IV drops doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to work out. But that IV dropping and then filling at the ask, I mean, it's kind of a coin flip for me. We can go in here and take a peek and see how heat zones look on it. I want to see if we got anything else for flow today as well. So let's see, we got a bid side call here 28 days out. So I wonder if this person may be taking profits, because we do have previous open interest on this. Let's see, it looks like we're started about 720 there, did all of that. So all of that looks to, okay, let's go back here. Let's go look at 720. So pop this here. Let's go 720. So you got a 787, and it's a bid side and a no side. So it's not going to give you a clean direction there, especially with the no side of things there. Let me, this kind of a bigger put here too coming in. Let's take a peek at that heat zone here. Let's go back here. So I'm looking at these heat zones. Absolute gamma is at 25, which is above us. Absolute gamma likes to act as the strongest magnet and pin. We got support at 22. Call wall's way up there at 25. Let's take a peek at some of these heat zones here. So the specific contract you sent me was 918. So let's just kind of look around there. So 918. They like that 23 and 24 there. Let's see, 84 days out. Getting a little far now, obviously, since they expire there. But man, at 24 on that 1120 is getting a lot of attention there as well. We're coming into that positive gamma. I would just want to be a little cautious, make sure we kind of don't reject that there. I do like how we're sitting right above that put wall. This, it doesn't look bad. Even that 28 days out, 24 is kind of your target there. Yeah, I like the heat zone a little bit more on it versus that flow. The flow is kind of a coin flip. Obviously, they're filling at the ask. I'd probably lean buy it open. It's a cheaper play too, 20 cents there. Let me go back. I want to look at the net premiums here too. And yeah, it's banks. So I mean, if you think banks are going to continue to do good, let me just make sure when do we have we already had earnings here on the 21st, so you don't got to worry about that. That had some big implied moves there for earnings there, obviously compared to your previous sessions, but yeah, very interesting. I'm just kind of looking at that post earnings move in here too. Not really a clear signal there. Just kind of looking, yeah, this thing doesn't get a ton of premiums there too. I mean, just kind of flat more. So I'd say it's interesting. It's a cheaper play too. So I mean, if you like something like that with time, how about 10% out of the money? I mean, that's not horrible there. It's a $22 stock. So I mean, you get the 50-cent move. You're gonna see a move on that contract there. Let's yeah, I'd probably lean buy to open on them if you made me trade it. I like that heat zone to go with it. I would just be a little, cautious with that IV drop. Again, doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to work out, but I'm very picky with my flow, as you guys know. All right, let's do S here. Let's take a peek here at S. These, I would want to double check that open interest on Monday for sure. There's a lot of volume on this thing right now. It wouldn't surprise me maybe that they're kind of getting out on a small little pump there. these, just kind of looking at them too. I mean, you got a lot of volume earlier in the day, then you get a lot of volume here. You got to check that open interest on it, and I'm sure the tape's going to be kind of messy on this one too with all that recent volume here. Just kind of looking in here. So, I mean, you get a nice IV spike on these here. Spots filling at the ask. Then you get an ascending fill here, but it's at the bid. Let's see. So, okay, here's your ascending fill at this part there. So same timing. And then you get another drop in here. Yeah, so kind of what we were thinking about, that tape not being super clean. And these do overlap earnings. We can do a heat zone read on it. I would want to double check the open interest for sure on that one there. We are up 3% on the day. Heavy net volume actually at the highest point of the day right now. Call premiums are up. Let's go take a peek at our heat zone. So we are sitting in that put wall-ish area here. You got some put wall here at 18-ish. Obviously, your big put walls there at 15. Little further below us there. Call walls up there at 20. Got a little 19, 21 there. Let's take a peek. So 0 day, we probably don't care about that. I'm sure nobody's going to be trying to trade this with 45 minutes left. I do like that heat map on that 731 there. All your positive gamma is above us here. That 821 as well. You're kind of sitting on that. You got gamma above and below us, so I mean, kind of, either way on that one there. I'd say I like that 731 though, for that 19.5 being up there a little bit. I like that. I would just want to double check that flow on, or that open interest on this one tomorrow. Monday, sorry. Let's just see if there's anything else here. Maybe that 731 here. This would be another double check that open interest, 67 here. I mean, they could be getting out at 71. It's a small little pop. Who knows? And I mean, with that 67 to 60, I'm going to assume maybe small average down. Who knows? Obviously, until we get that open interest update, you're just speculating. Could be getting out there. Just got to double check that open interest. Gotta be careful. And it'd be better almost on a 7-day stock to wait till Monday. Obviously, you might miss a gap up. If it gaps up, who knows? But it's better to do that, because I'm sure the theta, if we look at the 56-day ones, the thetas aren't going to be that high. But like if we look at the 7-day here, come in here. I mean, the theta's actually the theta. Did I click the right one? Oh, I did. 7-day. There's not real. Oh, they're pretty much in the money. That's why there's not really theta. I was like, why is the theta so light on that? Yeah, these are very interesting for sure. But I would double check that longer dated one there for sure. Let's see, I'm just looking in here. Anything else? They like that 56-day out. Like this one doesn't look that bad. You got 667 kind of big ones there. Again, we'd have to double check that open interest. A lot of these are kind of spotty. That's a bid side. About this guy down here. 7 days. Yeah, these I wouldn't probably do anything with. I'm sure the theta 14% out of the money. These are probably high on these guys here. And the theta's not that strong on these. That's, what are these priced at? 15 cents. I mean, 2 cents on a 15-cent contract can kind of make a difference, obviously. But yeah, no, I would double check that specific one. Obviously, you're getting a lot of volume there, but I like that heat zone for next week on that one. I do not dislike that heat zone on that one. All right, let's see. What are we doing? Periscope here. So we're just kind of bouncing under that 74.05 right now. Not really seeing too much. Put premiums are ticking up here, so I would almost maybe kind of eye a little down there. They're still dropping off some positioning up here. That 74.05 is kind of dropping, at least in the last 5 minutes or so, kind of dropping off there. So I mean, if that goes away, we're going to lose resistance there, so you could see it kind of pop back up. It's going to be an interesting finish here for sure today. Any changes? Yeah, market tide just still continuing to become more bearish and bearish there. All right, anything else in here? Let's see. Uber 21 days. So again, another one that overlaps earnings. We don't know if they're looking for a move before earnings, if it's an earnings bet, or not even related to earnings. That's why you see me kind of avoid that stuff. We can look at it though for context. Big, ooh, I wonder if they got new, look at that drop going in there. News candle or something? Because I mean, that's a big quick drop there. I mean, let's go take a peek here. That's a big drop. That's got to be a news candle. Oh, I don't see anything. That's got to be some sort of news drop or something. Let me just look in here. Somebody. Let's see. Nobody's going to know in here. I don't know why I'm looking at the Weeble comments. Let's see. 54 minutes ago, and we're just seeing it now. So, I mean, it shouldn't be anything here. Let's check the good old Twitter here. Uber. Let's see. No. Not seeing anything really. Let's see. Oh, explore split with Uber as well. There we go. There's your reason why we got a drop there. Yeah, that would not be good. That would definitely not be good. All right, let's pop back there. Oh, that 74.05 is disappearing there, so we're kind of losing some resistance there. So that range is at 74.35, almost 73.75. They're curious to see what goes on with that. That's pretty. That resistance disappearing there. Not good. Not good. All right, let's take a peek. Yeah. So, well, that explains why we saw that big drop there in Uber right there. All right. Oh, we're going to look at the flow here. Duh. Let's take a peek here. Yeah, big spike in that IV when it comes in. Spot is filling at the ask. These came in almost right when that. Geez, why am I just clicking all over? Thank God it's Friday, man. I mean, these came in right at that drop there, so I don't know if I'd want to chase that anyways, just on that big drop there. That's something to kind of keep an eye on, especially with earnings coming up there. Hey, we got an S put coming in here. I know we were looking at S, 17% out of the money, bid side put. These do overlap earnings, but let's take a little peek. Let's take a little peek. Oh, yeah, nice IV drop on the spot is filling at the bid. We fill at the bid that entire time. Yeah, I would almost lean that these would look more selly here to me. Yeah, these almost look more selly here to me, and then you got a little kind of trailers at the end here. Yeah, these could be interesting. These could be interesting. Obviously, an earnings overlap too, so kind of, that's with a grain of salt. All right, anything? Ooh, Rocket Lab puts coming in here. Doesn't look like the cleanest fill here. Earnings in 17 days. Let's take a ooh, that thing's getting slapped today. And we're just finally seeing that big spike in that put premium here. Let's go in here and take a peek. A nice spike in that IV spot is filling at the ask. And you kind of get a little IV drop here. What's our stock price doing there? So stock price is dropping as that IV is dropping. Again, these are puts, so you'd like to see that IV kind of rising with that price going in the direction of the contracts there. So yeah, curious to see there. I mean, 56 days out, we got earnings in 17 as well. So, anything earnings is going to be a grain of salt. You're going to hear me say that for another week and a half or so. All right, let's take a peek at the contracts that Brad's dropping us here, the SOFIs. SOFIs for next Friday. And he already knows what I'm going to say. I know he's going to, he knows I'm going to say something about earnings here. He did say their earnings, but let's, it's kind of a lot of volume on this one here. Geez, why am I clicking all over today? It's a Friday. That's why. Okay, I wanted to click on there. I don't know. So, okay, you got 5,000 contracts. Yeah, it's for sure some type of fun earnings thing here. It's 24% out of the money. You got earnings in 5 days, though, so anything can happen with that. Just want to see how we do with earnings. A name that likes to stay within its implied move more so. And yeah, just kind of with the earnings stuff, you guys know, I just kind of, its earnings flow, it can look super good. Doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, I mean, Ivy bounces around, Ivy drops. They're all filled at the ask though, so kind of grain of salt there. I mean, I'd almost lean calls there. I mean, 24% out of the money by the time we get to earnings. Let's just take a peek. What's the price on these? 8 cents again. I mean, you're gonna lose about 50% of that value over the weekend, but I mean, they don't have a horrible delta where if these, I mean, if SoFi had a massive move after earnings, these could profit, but you need that big earnings move, and just historically right now, it's just not getting that post earnings move. And just kind of coming back here, even just kind of looking at that one day. I mean, our biggest post earnings 1 day move looks to have been, oh well, you had a 20% day the one time, oh, a 28%. I mean, anything can happen with earnings. That's the thing. So I mean, if you're an earnings gambler, like, this is the stuff that you're kind of looking for, where it's just small and it's not going to kill your account if you're buying an 8-cent contract. Hopefully it's not going to kill your account. Yeah, that's definitely interesting though. Definitely interesting for sure. Then we got Rocket Lab coming in there. Yeah, we know you're lying there, Mr. Market Maker. We know you're lying there. I'm gonna get people to actually believe that you're a market maker at some point, probably. These iron puts are interesting here. They don't overlap earnings. We're already down 7.6% on the day though, so I don't like chasing when we're down that much. But I mean, this thing's not seeing any call premium, but premiums are still up here. These are kind of up 327, chopping up about 345 here. Let's see here. Sorry, I was just checking something on my other screen. Take a peek at these here to see how they look. I mean, they get a nice spike in that IV when they come in spots filling at the ask. Let's follow this up. We're looking good. Then you get that small little IV drop here. What's our price doing? So again, that price is going down, and with puts, obviously you want that stock price to go down. That IV is dropping with that stock price going down. I don't like seeing that. Usually. Now, if that stock price was going up and that IV drop, that'd be a little different, since the puts, you want them to go down and the stock's going up. So that could make a little difference there. But yeah, I don't like those that much there. And even kind of in the middle here, it's only 2 contracts. We don't know if they're related. I mean, that timing is about 1 second later, where you start seeing that other kind of little block of orders come in. Little conflicting there. I don't like chasing something that's down 7% either. And again, just keep in mind too, for 90% of the flow that you look at's not going to be good. So I mean, you hear me be very picky, but we don't know what these people are doing. You got to be very picky with your flow. And speaking of that too, let's just hop back here to Periscope quick. So, that 7,400 is kind of growing a little bit here. Maybe we're finding a little floor right now, possibly. If not, I mean, this is going to be a nasty little drop here. But just kind of another thing too that I want to talk about here as well, because I keep seeing a lot of people just posting these super high. Why is my Google call not saved in here? Let's see. Let me go down here. Google this guy right here. Probably a my fault thing. Yep, my fault thing. So just kind of another thing I want to, because you see a lot of people, they're teaching, like, there's different ways to look for like high volume stuff and all that. I know Brad's really good at finding interesting high volume contracts, but there's a lot of people that teach it and they like say, hey, this is exactly how you read flow. But like this, especially if you're new, like, once you get a little more screen time under your belt, there's different things you can look for and all that there. And not to throw you under the bus or anything, Brad, I didn't want to try to do that, but like, if you're new, I don't suggest like doing the high volume thing, but like if you're new, like this is what you want to see in flow, like a nice big clean entry on contracts here. I keep seeing people like, let me just pull up Tesla for the fun of it here. I keep seeing people on Twitter, big surprise, like they're like these here, they're, oh, look at all this volume coming in here. Like obviously, yes, it did kind of move up, but you don't know if there's a singular, this isn't a singular trader. There's multiple tons of orders coming in here, and it's, you just see a lot of people talking about this on Twitter, and they're like, oh, I'm teaching you how to read flow. Like, this isn't reading flow. You're reading a mega cap with 0-day expirations on it. There is nothing of substance in here where like you can be like, oh, hey, this is a person and this is that other person. Like, you can't do that. It's impossible there. So like if you're a beginner flow reader, let's see, I'll get your question here in a second, Josh. That's a good question, actually. Like this, if you're new, obviously, you know, there's different ways to do it. Like if you're looking at a stock as a whole and kind of looking for the high volume contracts coming, there's different ways to do it. But if you're a beginner flow reader, you're going to get hurt if you're following this stuff here. But like here, like this is a nice clean entry. You have 2,400 contracts here. You don't have, you know, hardly any open interest here where you can kind of monitor that trade. So like if I'm in here, like I took some of these here, obviously, but like if I see another spike, like let's just say we see 2,400 come in here at the bid, I can be like, oh, hey, maybe that whale's exiting here. Maybe I should, you know, think about potentially getting out, so on, something like that. Now, just I'm going to go back one more time here, and then I'll answer your question there about that, Josh, because that's a good question there. Like if I'm looking at the 0 days here and I'm like, oh, hey, this whale got in here, I'm seeing multiple spikes throughout the tape here. I don't know where they're getting out. I don't know if that person's even in. They could have, well, this one, I was going to say they could be in from yesterday, but this is a brand new chain. Like, well, I'll go back just for the example here. Like here, I mean, if I see a big spike here, hey, it's 11,000 contract. Okay, we'll do this one, like 4,000 contracts. Hey, is this related to yesterday, or is somebody taking profits? This is all within a 5-minute period. Like if I pop this to a 1-minute chart, you're not going to tell me a single thing in here where somebody's getting in, getting out. You can assume, but you don't know, unlike that Google where it's a clean singular entry there. Now to kind of get to your question there, Josh, about is it better to find those spikes in the beginning or the middle or the last hour of the day? And personally feel that the beginning or ending hour, that whale might have an edge. Yeah, it's kind of depends on the day too. Like if it's a low volume day, like you might not see anything in the beginning of the day, but you might see something at the end of the day. Or usually I see my flow, you know, kind of that first hour and a half of the session, and sometimes we'll see flow in that last hour and a half as well too. That middle of the day, and again, just depending on the day too, like if it's like, let's just say we got CPI and the numbers were horrendous, like you're going to probably see flow all day, that's opening flow and all that. But like here, I mean, if we come back here to like the beginning of the day here, and even today there's not that much, like that's where I caught those Tesla calls here, like that. Ooh, I was like, why is it still on that 1 minute? Like at 2,900 when it came in, we know it's an opener and it's earlier in the day, like it, and kind of and you know, this comes with screen time and just being in the market. Like something I like to do, like if I were, and I'm not big on taking weeklies over the weekend because you do have that 2 days of theta decay. Like if I were to truly just, let's say I love this flow, everything looks super good about the flow, if it runs intraday, great, that's okay. But like if I were to, so like for example, like let's say I really just love this Tesla flow, everything looks super good, I know we're coming into a weekend, they're 7 days out, and like I know that whale's, you know, still in, we're gonna say that for this conversation, doesn't look like there's any other big spikes in here, but I like just kind of something I like to do towards that end of the day. If I want to take a weekly, I'm taking it towards the end of the day, and I know that whale's still in. But to kind of answer your question there too, it kind of varies day to day. I typically see a lot of that kind of opening flow. Yeah, well, and like okay, so here's the tape for today. I mean, here's your open, and like let me get rid of multi legs here just to make this a little cleaner. It was my single leg only. So like here's my tape for today. So everything in here is single leg. So everything that's coming in here is filtered to essentially be an opening trade. So I mean, you're looking at your timing here. I mean, a lot of that flow came in here that first hour. So now kind of a different topic for a different day, but I don't like taking flow right out of the gate. So I mean, like these are coming in 11 seconds after open. That IV can be screwed up. You know, if the stock gapped up, you know, IV is going to be a little different. It makes it a little difficult. I kind of like to let the market settle for 10, 15 minutes. Now, if there's, you know, again, like let's say we just had CPI come in and it was horrible and we're assuming that the market's going to go down and you saw like a put come in in like 10 seconds. That's a different story. Again, a little more complex than just like, hey, it's 11 seconds there after the open. But like you're looking at my timings here. I mean, that first hour had a big chunk of flow. Now, when we go up to 9:30, I mean, even that first 2 hours here, I mean, kind of a lot here. Actually, today's kind of just had a lot of flow, but a lot of earnings flow as well too. So kind of grain of salt there too. But like today, just kind of for the most part, we had a lot. I mean, like today had a lot of kind of flow coming in here. Now, doesn't necessarily mean it's actionable, but oh, that's a big whale right there. We'll take a peek at those too. But yeah, I'd say it varies day by day there. It's hard to give you like a, you know, a correct answer to that because it's just kind of varies day by day. So like next week, so FOMC is next week. We're probably not going to see any flow in that first, you know, 3 hours of the day, and you're going to kind of wait for FOMC. Then that's when you'd see that flow more so after Warch. I almost said Powell there. Warch starts talking, so it's just it makes it kind of, you know, it's different day to day. I obviously I'm sitting looking at the screen all day, so it's a little different, but it just varies day to day. I would say kind of to just like, you know, make a very simple answer for you. That beginning and that end of the day is when that a lot of that volume comes into the market. So that's when you're gonna kind of see, you know, maybe more trades. Yeah, no, it's I hate when I kind of give those kind of nuanced answers like that because it's like I want to just be like, oh, look at this time of the day. Like, you know, somebody might just say, oh, well, look at the beginning because that's when all the volume's coming on. Yes, that's true. But if somebody, you know, just for example, like I'm gonna stop this in a random spot here. So like, okay, let's do MU. Like, let's say somebody found out news about MU, or you know they're looking at a chart and they know we're going to reject at this spot, you might see this trade come on at this time and they're kind of prepping for that. So I mean, you know, it's such a difficult answer to kind of give, but it's you know it kind of comes with screen time, just kind of, you know, knowing what's going on in the day. Like, hey, is it going to be a busy day? Do we have a lot of data? It's day by day, and like especially during earnings season, you kind of see that flow slow down a little bit too. Like next week, I can guarantee you next week when we have our notable flow, we'll probably have maybe like 6 or 7 decent looking trades next week, just because, you know, and that's me being cautious too, because I know there's people that are taking the alerts that get posted in here. I don't want to post something like, so like we got Amazon next week's one of the big ones there. Like I don't want to post something, or okay, no, we're just going to use NVDA for, I know NVIDIA doesn't report next week and they don't report for like a couple weeks, but like if I, just for an example, like I'm not going to call out Intel or AMD when I know NVIDIA is reporting, like, let's just say tomorrow, because NVIDIA is going to impact the entire tech sector and the broader market too. So, I mean, you just gotta kind of, there's times when you gotta slow down in the market too and just kind of know what's going on. Not everything's gonna be actionable right now too. So I mean, like, I can guarantee you the next week it's gonna be pretty quiet because we got a lot of big names coming in. But like the Googles, like I felt comfortable kind of taking these just because, hey, Google reported, they're done. The odds of, something kind of impacting it now, yes, it can happen, but they already reported the market knows what they did, barring like a big partnership or something. Like, hey, that's and it can happen obviously, but yeah, hey, no, enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hope that, sorry for the long answer, but hopefully it helped a little bit. All right, let's take a peek here. Brad dropped us another one, but he's gone, I think. SpaceX. Oh, the SpaceX, super far out of the money. So yes, do not fall for these. These have been coming in since options have been available. I keep seeing people say, "Oh, look at how far these are out of the money. They're gonna print." No, these are 7 days out of the money. These are these are call sells. These are call sells. If SpaceX moves 189% by the end of next week, I will whatever you want, pick what you want, because I will bet against that easily. Because I mean, the theta on these things is going to eat these things away very quickly. They're so far out of the money. They're short-term expiration. These are junk. These are junk. This person has been collecting premium since options started on SpaceX. What are these pumps coming in? Let's take a peek at these. 28 days. So we got earnings in 5, but these look kind of interesting. So again, this is one of those examples of, hey, here comes some interesting flow. Now, I don't know if it's earnings related. I don't know if it's not earnings related. I'd probably kind of go on the end that it's not earnings related just because it's so far out. Like, this is interesting flow to me for sure. And I bet you anything, if you look at pump, I'm sure there's a bunch of people talking about it right now. But they're just saying, oh, they're buying calls. Like, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Let's just kind of look at our tape here. Let's see. So they get a big spike in that IV when they come in. Okay, 97. So IV kind of drops a little bit. What's our price doing? Staying the same. Price kind of stays the same here. Get a little break, then you get another spike in that IV. These look good. These look good, but it'd be a lotto if anything, just because, well, now here comes your IV dropping again there. Stock price is going up. Man, these are so spotty. These are spotty. I mean, you almost have an ascending fill, then it drops at the end. Yeah, I mean, yes, they might make a move, great, but it's not the cleanest tape. Yes, they're filled at the ask, but that doesn't always mean it's a buy. But I mean, this is pretty unusual. This is pretty unusual. Like this, we'll kind of. Why is it down 5% on the day? See, yeah, I mean, this is the only contract that's getting any action on it. So I mean, I'd probably lean buys if you made me trade it, but it's let's see, independent provider of oil, gas, welder. I mean, interesting. Yeah, I mean, if we get some headline risk over the weekend and we get something coming out with Iran and the US, we could see oil spike again on Monday. So I mean, this is more of kind of, hoping that there's escalation over the weekend. What these NVDA puts coming in here, these could be kind of interesting. So again, when I'm talking about that volume here, so this volume on this NVIDIA put here coming in, got 5,000 contracts coming in pretty much all at one time here. You don't see any other messy volume or anything in here. Let's take a peek at our tape. And these actually look pretty good here. Let's go here. Let's remove this. So again, nice big spike in that IV when it comes in. Spot price is rising. IV is rising. These look good. I'm going to throw these in the notable flow. Again, you're not going to see 1,000 pieces of good looking flow. Like, these look very interesting and can see our ask excuse me, ask side net put premiums are rising, call premiums are falling. Heavy negative net volume there too. So I mean, these look pretty good here. Let me throw these in our horrible flow chat here too, and I gotta take the screenshot of the raw flow here too. So let's do this. Oops, if I could click, that would help there. It's because I'm doing a live, so I'm gonna blame that. So IV spike there, IV spike there, spot price rising. Okay, let me save this. Let me just pop this in the chat quick and we'll get right back to it. Just wish it wasn't a Friday when these are coming in. I hate when all the good flow kind of comes in on a Friday sometimes, and then it's just like, it's the weekend. V spikes as flow comes in, ascending fill, right? Oops. Rising put premiums, heavy negative net volume. Oops. Spikes. I always do IEK for spikes. I don't know why. Okay. So just kind of touching on that lesson too a little bit. This volume again here, this is a clean entry. You know it's an opening trade. There's only 25 open contracts on this. 100% you know this is an opening trade. And now, like we were talking about earlier, let me just come back to NVIDIA here. Now, if I'm looking at a 0-day contract on these, there is nothing in this contract chain that's going to tell me anything. There is nothing that's giving me directional bias. I don't know why there's so many people just kind of teaching that high volume's good. There's a difference between volume. You have, again, this volume here is you can easily see what's going on. You know, it's more than likely one trader. Obviously, we don't know for sure, but the trades are all coming in at the same second on a name that has 85 open contracts. This is, I'll go out on a limb and say it's the same trader. Now, when you look at this one here, the 0 days, I mean, hey, you get 11,000 contracts in the beginning of the day. These have 83,000 open contracts. Who knows if somebody's closing something out? Like now, if I pop this back 2 days, can you tell me in here where somebody's getting out of a trade? Can you tell me where somebody's putting on a trade? No, you can't. This is not a way to teach people how to, read flow. This is not a way to read flow. High volume does not necessarily mean it's one trader. This is a 0 day on a mega cap. There are hundreds of thousands people punting these contracts around. Maybe it's one retail trader opening one and closing another one. So I mean, you don't know how many people there are related in that trade. And again, now if I pop this down to the 1 minute, you can't tell me whoa, what was that? Oh, my Google went off. Let's say, oh, okay, so we'll come back to this Google here in a second. This is kind of a good example. So again, the NVIDIA here, not, anything easily to kind of read there. So my alert went off on Google here. So now again, this is why you want to have that clean flow here. So now I'm looking at these here like, hey, these came in, you got 2,400 contracts. I'm noticing 800 contracts coming at the bid. Now, is this whale maybe, adding at break even? Now, just because it's at the bid doesn't necessarily mean they're closing those. Like if we look at the candle, let's just see if we can maybe get a little context out of it. So that IV kind of drops when they come in. Spots filling at the bid. Yeah, it would almost look like a closure here to me. Obviously, we don't know until that open interest updates for sure. There are plenty of examples of double ask side hits and that flow being closed. This could be an ad. They could have been waiting for that small little dip and they got filled on the dip. It's hard to know until that open interest updates, but this is a good example of why you want that clean flow. Like, at least I have this on my radar, like, hey, something's going on this chain right now that I'm trading right now, and I actually need to see. Well, I'm down about 1% on mine right now. So, I mean, like, at least that way, you can just kind of know in your mind, like, hey, well, maybe something's going on. Maybe I should think about potentially getting out. There's just, that's why you want the clean flow versus that super messy flow. And that super messy flow does not provide any context at all. It's not really a good way to trade flow. Now, yes, there are different ways to use that super high volume. If you're looking at Google as a whole, and you're kind of, there's different ways to do it. That's on way more of an advanced level. I don't even do that because I like the clean flow. But yeah, perfect example today on that there. Let's take a peek at market tide there. Yeah, market tide's still pretty bearish here. Call premium's still drawing down. Put premium's kind of taking a small breather there. Net volume's just slightly improving there, just not too much there. Hey, I was looking there, I'm like MOC already. All right, what do we got going on here, Periscope? So I'm happy I locked my account and we're not really doing anything trading wise, because we not seeing much going on here. I wouldn't have a setup here either way. We got negative gamma above and we got negative gamma below. This kind of looks like it might drop a little bit here. So you can see your white dots here dropping off here on your bar. So that means that positioning is dropping off a little bit. They're building up a little bit down here. I think we're going to kind of target down. I'd maybe almost target that 73.95. Your market tide's bearish. I wish I could kind of put on a trade to show it. So, okay, let's just do it for the fun of it. Because I locked my account, so I can't. But, okay, let's just say we're putting on a trade there, 74.39. Of course, the one time that I, locked my account for the show, but we'll just kind of keep an eye on that there. And I mean, this 74.05 can act as a little resistance here, and it's growing. So, your downside positioning is growing. This is growing here, and that positive gamma is going to act as a suppressant to that price. So if we touch that 74.05, I expect us to kind of drop a little bit here. And we're already kind of dropping from where we would have entered that there, about a 3-point drop already there. All right, what's going on here on that update? So now that's dropping off a little bit there, and that kind of dropped a teeny bit there as well. But we're still, we got to get through that positive gamma if we want to go up. If we get through that positive gamma, we can see it shoot up there. So, I mean, it's kind of a dangerous setup there where you're hoping this positive gamma holds so that price suppresses here and kind of potentially drops. Like, okay, we would have had a good trade there too. See, 74.40 down to about, 74.35, about a 4-point drop there. That's a nice little drop in the last, 2 minutes there. Oh, man, I shouldn't have locked my account. That's what I get for locking my account on a Friday. Those NVDA puts are already kind of moving a little bit there too. 138, 149. So, I mean, even like this, I mean, it's not 10% yet, but like if I'm up like 15%, 10-15%, I am still going to think about taking profits. I'm going into a weekend. There can be headline risk. I can always get back in on Monday. Yes, it's not flashy, but hey, you got to take profits, especially in the, oh man, we are really growing there. Yeah, that 73.95 looks like we want to kind of go down there and touch that a little bit. That upside's kind of dropping off a little bit there too. This is going to be a kind of a volatile finish here, especially if this 74.05 drops off even more. We're just going to be in negative gamma. All right, let's pop back to the tape. Anything there? Okay, really long dated. I mean, some of this long dated stuff I don't even want to bother posting. I'm going to go out on a limb and say most people in here probably don't care about something for December of 2028. I know I wouldn't. These XOMs are interesting, but we got earnings here. And this is not above the ask. Do not, when you see people say, oh, these contracts are coming in above the ask, they are not coming in above the ask. This is not anything more bullish or anything. These are filled at the ask. There's a national best bid offer, and there's a whole article on it. I can drop it if people really want to read it, but there's not an above ask, there's not a below bid. Just, if anybody says that, call them a phony and tell them to read up on stuff. But yeah, these expire on earnings next week anyways. Why did my thing do that? But again, like this is one of those good examples of, hey, is this person, expecting a move on earnings? Is this person expecting escalation over the weekend? Something like that. There's so many factors that go into it, especially when it overlaps that earnings. Now, if they didn't overlap earnings, I would say, hey, maybe they're, putting a bet on that there's going to be some escalation over the weekend. That would be my kind of assumption then. Because I mean, this tape looks very good because you're having your IV spike here. Spot is filling at the ask. And you get another spike here on your big size and I would read these as a buy, easily a buy. I mean, a 20-cent contract. If you're trying to swing something over the weekend on something like that, that's not an expensive swing. I wouldn't trade like a full size on something like that, but yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with that there. Rocket Lab calls, yeah, against 7 days, you're risking a lot over the weekend. It's tough. Are those pumps doing anything? Oh yeah, they kind of pumped a little bit. Yeah, I mean, we figured it was unusual flow, but they're not up too much there, about 4%. All right, let's go back to here. Let's see what we're doing. We're just chopping between that gamma here and looking at that gamma here. That upside's kind of growing here. We're just sitting on this 74.05 right now. Just sitting right in that 74.05. Market can't decide which way it wants to go. Now that 73.95 dropped off a little bit and we kind of grew a